anyway, so Amouranth. Amouranth did some shitty shit. And that's what we're here for right now. Not like here for her, like we're here to talk about it. So Amouranth was streaming on Kick, the Nazi streaming site. And fucking said some shit. She was watching what's his name? Asmongold watch a city council meeting. So it's like a whole thing. So let's just play the clip first.
And you could 9 times out of 10 figure out exactly why they're saying what they're saying.
Give the crazies all of California. It's already land of fruits and nuts. Yeah, we can give them California. I'm fine with that. They can live in LA. That's fine.
It has been 1 month since Southern California exploded in a fierce fire tore through the Palisades and beyond. Just a few hours later, on the other side of LA County, another deadly fire breaks out, the Eaton Fire. It raced across Altadena and Pasadena. The two fires charred more than 37,000 acres.
They can all live. That's
over
a lovely community.
16,000 structures and cost 29 people their lives.
Too bad it didn't cost the right people their lives.
Yes, you did hear that correctly, by the way, those who are watching on Twitch. She did say, too bad the LA fires did not cost the right people their lives, referring to LGBTQIA activists. I think I have a slightly longer clip here.
Or a lot of bad shit happened in the Holocaust.
Slightly different clip.
And I don't think the Jewish people in general deserved that kind of torture. But at the same time, the act of getting people out of your country, if you don't think they should be there as a leader, I agree with. Like, if they're illegal or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, there was a line, they kind of crossed it, but for a while there, you know, it was the idea when people are like, this is like the Nazis. Like, I mean, sure, the first part, but what do you think? You think that just because we're getting people out of the country means that we're going to torture them? I would say being in the country is the kind of torture. These people don't look happy here. They kind of seem like they've already
earned a lot of stuff.
Again, you heard that correctly. She said, the Nazis were bad for killing all the Jews, but just getting people out of your country that you don't want in there, like, they crossed a line, but, like, it's literally Nazi apologia, as this says right here. Let's see. What's the reason that they gave? Oh, sorry. That live stream fail clip was removed because it was too old. So people got mad and posted those clips where she essentially just said that these LGBTQIA activists are the wrong people and that actually the Nazis were right for trying to get people out of their country. They just went too far with killing the Jews. And people were like, hey, that's kind of fucked up. Maybe you shouldn't say that shit. And she goes, I guess I'm not allowed to question the behavior of activists who threaten to incite violence against their own community without being accused of hating the group affiliation they happen to belong to. Note that I didn't say that she hated LGBTQIA people. I said that she said that those specific activists, she wished they died in the fires. Because what she said was, too bad the right people didn't die in the fires after she said they could have LA. So, like, following the line of logic there, she said she wished they died in the fire. Just a step removed from directly outright saying it. And then she said, but then again, I don't assume the actions of a specific you are indicative of the whole. But thanks for making me trend. And then posted this clip.
If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
So what that activist was saying is essentially, hey, if you are somebody who maybe does not actually support Trump, but what you do is you believe that you're like not gonna get in their way, you're not gonna stop them from doing stuff because you're not part of that group, and so you don't want to, like, you're scared that you might get caught in the crossfire then you're supporting them. You are. You're not an innocent bystander at that point. You are actively seeing harm being done to a people, and you are not standing up for that people. So you are contributing to the problem. You're not as evil as the people doing the damn thing. Sure. You're not as bad as people who are literally fucking doing the harm, passing the laws, doing the hate crimes, whatever. Comma, you see it, you acknowledge that it's wrong, and you're just like, but I don't want to cause myself any trouble. I'm scared that I might get hurt too if I stand up for these people. You are part of the problem. And therefore, yeah, you should look out the same way that the people who are actively doing harm. It's self-defense. To some degree. Like, I'm not saying we should be violent, but like, if you don't listen to people if you don't listen to the people who are reaching out to you, they're gonna protest. If you don't listen to the protests, they're gonna riot. If you don't listen to the riots, there's gonna be a revolution. Like, that's just how government works. That's just how, like, these things go. You could literally stop and listen and stop doing the harm at literally any point along those lines, and it wouldn't fucking escalate. But things escalate when people are being harmed and no one's fucking listening. Because people get desperate. They get backed into a corner and they lash out. Just like just like any other animal that gets backed into a corner. Because human beings are animals. Very natural reaction, actually. And of course, like, a bunch of people were like, hey, the LGBTQ community defended you when you were going through the shit you were going through. Like, we were your fucking strongest supporters. We were your strongest backers. Like, what the fuck? And so she posts this long-ass statement, which I will now read, which I did respond to, so I will probably end on my statement about it, or, like, close on my thoughts, if I have any more thoughts about it. She said, y'all keep referencing sides and saying the word grift like you're playing a video game, and how on the character screen select it is utterly frictionless to pick a different face. Y'all are the real two-faced fucks. Total brain rot, keep self-reporting. I just call it like I see it. I don't have an agenda or some master plan to appeal to another demographic. I've made so much fucking money that the incremental dollar doesn't make me compromise in the way you might think. Anyone that thinks that switching political allegiances is some kind of profitable endeavor is just projecting. Maybe for a political streamer, cough grifter, the economics make sense. But for my segment of the market, it is not financially rewarding to speak your mind. Literally, people make jokes about how they watch my stream on mute. You're thinking I'm doing this for money says more about you than it does about me. I'm certainly not against any group or affiliation. To a fault, I've never been able to see beyond what is right in front of me, and what I saw was a person threatening violence indiscriminately in a town hall setting, to their own community no less, and many others acting in a manner unbecoming. Do you think everyone at that town hall deserved to be violently threatened? Not everyone at that town hall was violently threatened. That's my own addition. The context that my detractors, with your head in the sand, or so far up your own asses, miss, is the following quote from the clip I shared. If you say you're afraid of Trump and that's why, ... then you better prepare for trans people to make it a very unsafe place. There's kind of an important missing context in there, I would point out. You know, if you say you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want it to be a safe place for trans people, that's kind of the missing context there. Because if you don't want it to be a safe space for trans people, it doesn't matter why you don't want it to be a safe space for trans people. You're on the side of the people making it unsafe for trans people. That is just how that fucking works. Who does this threat target? Not Trump, who they profess to hate. Not his supporters, who they would consider birds of a feather. No, they don't make their violent threats against those people. Instead, they explicitly threaten people who, under duress, might accede to a position that they are against. Because they're not truly against it if they won't stand up for it. If you have ideals that you literally crumble under the slightest amount of pressure to break, those aren't your actual ideals. Those aren't actually, like, morals that you hold. They're just ideas that you like. There's a difference between, like, morals that you truly hold, ideals that you truly hold, and things you think would be nice. Those are two different things that come with two different levels of defense. Isn't that literally the definition of domestic terrorism? No! Regular folk just living their lives in your vicinity, that's who you want to single out and make feel unsafe. Yes, because they are supporting the regime they are allowing and supporting the regime that wants to make those people feel unsafe. It is self-defense. It's mind-boggling that you guys refuse to condemn this. Some of y'all are saying, well, they're justified in. No, they probably shouldn't be making threats, but it does make sense to make threats against people who don't care if your life they view your life as what's the word? Like meaningless. It doesn't matter. It's like causal. God, what is the word that I'm looking for? It starts with a C. Shit. Collateral. They see your life as collateral damage. They're like, I don't like it, but like it's not hurting me, so and I don't want to get hurt, so it's fine, I guess. Bro, even in war, there is just and bellow. You don't get to target non-combatants, bystanders, no matter what your cause is, period. Some lines you just don't cross, and I will defend that till my dying breath. They're not bystanders. They're not bystanders. That's the crossroad we find ourselves in. Some of you actually don't believe you can justify what was said by a wannabe domestic terrorist threatening a town hall meeting in their own community. No, they were saying you should stand up for trans people. Because if you don't, and you're just allowing harm to come to trans people, you aren't any better than the people who are causing harm to trans people. You're perhaps not worse, but you're not better. Lastly, I want to end by saying that I'm the happiest, most fulfilled I've ever been in my life, and I see through the bullshit. Some of you I could write your tweets before you even tweeted them. You cry grifter and try and tar and feather me. But I was merely, but not adroitly, I have never had the gift of being good with words, trying to convey the illusion that, quote, yeah, maybe the bad people who are threatening their own neighbors, who they claim are frozen in fear already by promising to give them something more extreme to fear, maybe those aforementioned people can reap what they sow. I don't think the person at that town hall was very good with words either. I think they could have worded it a lot better. I think they could have worded it in a way that sounded less violent, but you're not actually hearing what the fuck they're saying either. They can reap what they sow is also not death. You realize that you were saying that they should die, right? For saying, hey, please fucking stand up for your fellow community members. Anyway, what the ever-loving fuck have we become if instead of singling out and condemning explicitly bad people threatening bad things, we shield them behind the flanks of their group identity and we revile those who attempt to denounce them? And what I said in response was, if you're siding with maggots because you're scared of Trump, you don't just get to hide under their skirts and pretend you're not part of the harm or an innocent bystander. If you don't want the community to be a safe space for trans people, it doesn't matter why. And I will fucking stick by that 100%. There's a really fucking famous poem that's brought up a lot in times like these, which starts, at first they came for the communists, and I did not stand up because I was not a communist. You can go Google it. I don't need to really do the rest. But the idea is that if you know what this administration is doing is fucked up, and you stand by and let it happen because it's not affecting you yet, you are literally you are literally condemning the people who would have your back later on. Amouranth is a very good example of this because LGBT people were there for her when she was having a hard time with her abusive husband. They were defending her when she was being targeted as an OF thought. They backed her up when people were calling for her to be banned on Twitch because she was doing something that was well within their guidelines. Pushing the edge maybe like a little bit, but like really not. And she is sacrificing them on the altar of, I don't know, like virtue signaling, I guess. She's on Kick now, so I'm sure like she's going down some kind of right-wing rabbit hole. And people are pushing back, and she doesn't like that. And it sucks to see that somebody who we defended so much is choosing to turn her back on us when we were there for her. I hope she rethinks things. I don't think she's going to, as long as the internet is going to continue to attack her as much as they have. But I hope she does. I hope she gets back on the right path. I hope she stops watching fucking Asmongold. And just rethinks some of the things that she's bought into, because it's really sad to see this, essentially. That's really all I have to say about that, though.